Hi, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk Chicago. My name's Jon Zaghloul. Great to have you here on Channel 59.3 BPOD TV and Roku. Big news for today is Mitch Trubisky is now considered a hot commodity on the free agent market. We'll talk about where he could go and what it means for his career moving forward. That comes up in just a second. Before we get started, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook at Jon Zaghloul. If you want to watch more of this show, search up Sports Talk Chicago on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube at sportstalkchicago.com. If you want to watch more shows from the BPOD TV network, search up BPOD TV on YouTube. I want to start today with this. When you need to repair your image, there are usually two schools of thought. You could go on a big PR campaign, write apology tour, and talk to certain people, schedule interviews. See a lot of canceled celebrities do this all the time. Sometimes it works. But there always is, usually, public outrage regardless. And by you speaking more, you stir the pot more. You allow more headlines to come out, bad ones. More issues to stir up. Don't get me wrong, it's worked for some people, but others, not so much. Then there's the other option, maybe the less popular option. Shut up. Sounds simple, right? Shut up. Be quiet. But it can work, and work very well, I might add. This time last year, there was tons of Mitch Trubisky bashing all across Chicago. Never ended, never ceased. What about today? A year later. What's happened in the past year to stop the Mitch Trubisky slander and talk and hate? Simply put, he's been quiet. And now all of a sudden, Mitch Trubisky has suitors, offers to be a starting quarterback for a number of different teams. So here's my question. How did he go from being the most hated quarterback in football, or at least here in Chicago, to now being sought after, revered, wanted? I get it, the market is weak, lots of guys retired, people are moving. We all knew at some point Mitch would start again. That was obvious. Even experts were saying that. But how to go to this flow of positivity? Saw a couple of people on Twitter today saying, hey, it's the next Ryan Tannehill. He'll reinvent his career. I'm so excited. Mitch Trubisky himself spoke out, said he's been in a very good place recently. The NFL on CBS put out this tweet: highest winning percentage since 2018 among active quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, Mitch Trubisky. Yeah. Highest winning percentage since 2018 amongst active quarterbacks. Mahomes at 790 and Mitch Trubisky at 658. Huh. I get it, wins aren't a quarterback stat, blah, blah, blah. But the point is, he's right there with those names. I'm not saying he's better. I'm not saying he's great. I've said many a time, at his best, he's a 15th to 20th best quarterback in the NFL. Now, here's a report from Bears Nation, at Bears Nation Shy, quote, Mitchell Trubisky, who's entering free agency, is expected to have a chance of competing for the QB1 spot on another team. Here are some teams that have interest: Steelers, Broncos, Panthers, Texans, Packers. Again, what were we saying about Mitch Trubisky a year ago? A year and a half ago? And what did he do? Shut up. Signed a $2.5 million deal 1 year, went to Buffalo, learned under Josh Allen, and got so much praise from Allen himself, got praise from the GM. I read you that story last week. The GM said we'd love to have him back if he can't find the offer he's looking for. Now, based on that tweet, it looks like he will find a pretty good offer. I'm pretty surprised at this whole resurrection of his career in a sense. I mean, I'm very shocked to see this. Trubisky said to Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, quote, "Going to Buffalo really opened my eyes. After being in Chicago for 4 years, there was only one way I know how to do things. Being in Buffalo and having a different way of doing things, you learn what's possible. It helped me get back to instinctual football and using my talents rather than overthinking." Shout at Matt Nagy. Good job. Another quote, "You can't be afraid to make mistakes. When guys are playing free, you're at your best. I wanted to learn how the Bills helped Josh Allen, and I saw that firsthand." And in this article, the writer states that nobody could sympathize more with Mitch Trubisky than all of us after what happened to Matt Nagy. I just love the narrative shift. I'm here for the narrative shift. For those who've watched me, a lot of you have since last year, last Bears season. I was always on the Trubisky train. I want to make myself clear. Again, I'm not saying he's a great quarterback or top 5 quarterback, top 10 quarterback, but you know what? In the right system with the right team, he could be effective. More than effective. I mean, we saw what he did in 2018. We did. Did great. We saw what he did his rookie year with John Fox. Put up better numbers than Justin Fields. I'm just saying. So before you come out and criticize Mitch or talk about him, say he's horrible, what are you still talking about, John? Why are you still bringing him up? It's another story that I'm always going to follow. Sorry. Same with the Matt Nagy saga. This one too. How many of you even saw this report that came out? How many of you even heard about it from other outlets? Unless you're on Twitter a little bit, maybe you'd see it. That's it. Nobody talks about these things, and they're pretty damn important. I want to know what happens to Mitch Trubisky. I want to know if the Bears got it right or wrong. I want to know who's really responsible for what happened to him. I want to hold these people accountable. Keyword accountable. Nobody else holds the Bears accountable. Everybody sits there and praises them. Good job. As of last year, around this time, people were writing apology letters to Ryan Pace. He's been fired now. I'm holding this franchise accountable. We all deserve closure on Mitch Trubisky. Right now, we don't have it yet. He left. He was quiet. Backed up Josh Allen for a year to Brian Daboll. Now, all of a sudden, we're talking about some big-time teams having interest in him starting. Not backing up, starting. And I just find that so funny for everybody who came down on Mitch Trubisky. Everybody who slandered him, took advantage of him, hurt him, ran him out of town. I mean, you made sure he can't even post on social media now. Look where he stands today. He will find another job. He's going to be a starter. He will be. Guaranteed he's going to start at least 5 games in 2022. Going to compete for a starting job with all those teams I just mentioned. Steelers, Broncos, Panthers, Texans, Packers. Packers. If Aaron Rodgers leaves, I assume. Because they're not happy with Jordan Love over there, but that's not the point. Steelers, Broncos, Panthers, Texans, all those spots are viable options. Every single one of those spots, he would thrive in my opinion. Broncos just got Nathaniel Hackett from the Packers, so offensive line. Steelers, Mike Tomlin, defensive guy, but still, I think Mitch would just do so well in Pittsburgh. I could totally see it. You know, they had Big Ben. Big Ben didn't really move much, and he was broken down at the end of his career. Now look at what would happen if Mitch Trubisky went there. He could run a little bit. He could throw downfield. Throw 5, 10-yard passes with ease. I think he'd be great. Panthers, I'm a little bit concerned about because Matt Rule's an idiot. He used a quarterback rotation last year. Sam Darnold and Cam Newton, then P.J. Walker. No, I don't think so. There's a spot where Mitch Trubisky would ruin his career. I'm going to fully say that right now. The good thing is he's a free agent, his choice. And I would hope he's a smart kid. He would not go to a place where he'd be ruined again. Matt Rule's on the hot seat. Many people were shocked he was even returning this year. They used 3 different quarterbacks purposefully in one game. Now we're going to do a quarterback rotation. What is this, Pee Wee football? Not going to work. So my hope is he doesn't go there, and then the Texans. Well, you really got nothing to lose if you go to Houston. I'm not saying he's going to do great over there. I mean, you got a couple of decent players. Problem is there's no expectation to do anything. If you go to Pittsburgh or Denver, there's an expectation, a potential expectation for the playoffs. That's where you should go. I'm telling you right now, Mitch Trubisky needs to pick Pittsburgh or Denver. Needs to start. I guarantee everybody watching him, it's going to go pretty well. Better than people expect. I know that for a fact here. And then, more from the article, Mitch Trubisky, no doubt, felt Justin Fields' pain. So see, now it's okay to mention, oh, poor Mitch Trubisky, because of what happened to Justin Fields. Where was this last year? I mean, I'm being honest, where was this? Why has this not been mentioned? And this is what I hate about media narratives. See, now it's acceptable to say, hey, maybe Mitch Trubisky could have a renaissance. Oh, he felt Justin Fields' pain. Poor guy. What about poor guy last year? Poor guy 2019? No. Nope, not going to say that. Well, I should say this. There's one person, two people, who I know in sports media who echo these sentiments. Mike North and Mike Harmon, two guests on this program. That's it. I haven't heard anybody else defend Mitch Trubisky, defend Justin Fields, even to the extent that he was sabotaged, not till it came up this year. Right? We didn't talk about this stuff. Nobody cared to talk about it. There were still people, big people in media, halfway through the season praising Matt Nagy. Okay? Praising Matt Nagy, saying it's not his fault, should be staying. What a joke. That's a freaking joke. Now, oh my goodness, Mitch Trubisky felt Justin Fields' pain. Yeah, no blank. Oh, I wish I could say it, but no blank. Yeah, of course he did. Of course he did. He was run out of town. But we're not going to talk about it now, right? See, a lot of people don't want to bring it up because they're dead wrong. They were dead wrong. They don't want to look so bad in front of their audience. You know me. I do admit when I'm wrong. I did on Matt Eberflus a couple of weeks ago. But on this, yes, I was absolutely right. And I'm going to keep reporting on this until we get a solution. And next year, come the season, there will be videos on Mitch Trubisky. Guaranteed. If he tears it up. If he plays well for Denver, Pittsburgh, wherever he goes. This story will never go away. I want the Bears to feel bad about this. I want some Bears fans to feel bad about how they treated him. Yes, 100%. The way he left, the way he was pushed out of town, the way he was blamed for the majority of the Bears' issues when it was obvious there were problems way above his pay grade. Problem. Now we sit here, we're talking about a new team, starting opportunity, different teams. Right. And no one wants to say anything. Now, oh, Mitch Trubisky felt Justin Fields' pain. Yeah? Where was that last year around this time? Nope, it was, oh, thank God he's gone, finally. Okay. You'll all see. I never said he's going to be a big-time top 10 quarterback, but you know what? Right system, right team that prioritizes him and, cares about him. He will be a top 15, top 20 QB. He will. When he's not being actively sabotaged, he will. 100%. It was proven that he was sabotaged. Same for Justin Fields. Same thing. With the right team, the right coaching, and the right care, because that makes a difference, he's going to be all right come 2022. I firmly believe it. And all these teams that are interested in him, it really warms my heart. Not even for being right or about how I cared about Mitch Trubisky, how I supported him. No, I'm just talking about in general. It warms my heart to see that. Whether you love the guy or whether you hated him, you have to admit he did get a raw deal. And that's been proven now with what happened with Matt Nagy. So even if you hate him, even if you say, oh, you know what, bad player, overthrew guys, fine. But you have to admit he got a raw deal. So it warms my heart to see that other teams see that, and they're willing to give him a second chance with the right scheme and the right coach and the right care. Care is important. When you have no care, when there's no nurturing to an extent, you're not going to get better, and you're going to be frustrated. Happens all the time in life. That's a big thing. Same for the NFL, same for quarterback, same for every other position too, but especially the quarterback. If you're not cared for, if you're not prioritized, if you're not nurtured, you are not going to succeed. Look at Justin Fields this year. Was Justin Fields cared for? Serious question. Was Justin Fields cared for and nurtured? And did he grow in 2021? Not really. Thrown out to the Wolves, got sacked a number of times against Cleveland, was always on the run, never had any protection, got killed. No care there whatsoever. And now we're going to say, oh, Mitch Trubisky felt Fields' pain. Mitch Trubisky had the pain first. Mitch Trubisky was the pain. And everybody blamed him, except for a few. And now Justin Fields felt the same thing. You will never succeed as a quarterback if you're not cared for. You have a coach who doesn't prioritize you, doesn't care about you, like in Matt Nagy's case. Big ego, oh, conform to my system or you're out of here. Yeah, you're not going to succeed. That's why it warms my heart to see Trubisky get another chance somewhere. I hope it works out. And I'm happy that he's speaking out to an extent. I know, I'm sure, he can't say what he wants. Because if he did, he'd be blackballed. 100%. He came out and said, oh, this happened with Matt Nagy, or I have more stories to tell. Guaranteed, he would never find a job again. So I know he has to be very careful with the words he says. And that's why these quotes were perfect. There was a slight jab at Nagy without being direct. I loved it. But it's so true. Matt Nagy did screw him. Now he has an opportunity to rewrite the script in his career and to find a spot where he could thrive. I don't know if he's going to be a Super Bowl winning quarterback or lead his team to a big playoff appearance, but here's what I do know. He's competent enough to put your team into the playoffs. We've seen it happen with the Bears, and we've seen it happen numerically, statistically. He's put up good enough numbers to lead a team to the playoffs in the past. He has. 24 touchdowns, 13 picks. Best rated passer in Bears history, yes. He's put up enough good numbers to suggest that he could lead you to a playoff appearance if you're a team. And I assume that's what other teams see here. They know who Mitch Trubisky is and what he could bring to the table. They know his numbers. They know what he's capable of. Look at all these teams interested. All these teams need new quarterbacks. Think about it. Steelers, Broncos, Panthers, Texans, Packers. Think about the Broncos, the Panthers, the Texans specifically. These are teams who haven't been to the playoffs in a long time. They need a quarterback, obviously. Bringing in just somebody competent would help them. Teddy Bridgewater didn't work in Denver. Drew Lock is a bust, right? Panthers, 3 different guys. All of them couldn't even throw the ball past 5 yards. Texans, Deshaun Watson's up in the air. Tyrod Taylor got hurt. They have Davis Mills. Okay, well, we don't know yet on him. Sure, he's still out. These are all good opportunities for Mitch to reinvent his career and to lead these teams to the playoffs. Even the Steelers still. We can all agree he's way better than Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph is the QB1 as of today in Pittsburgh. That probably won't last long. And Mitch Trubisky's 10 times better. Put Mitch Trubisky in Pittsburgh, see what happens. Guaranteed 10-7, 11-6, playoff appearance. Book it now. I don't know how far they're going to go, but that I believe is attainable. Without question, it's attainable. I know you're sick of hearing about this. No, you don't want to hear about Mitch Trubisky's name anymore. John, what are you talking about? We have Justin Fields now. Come on. I understand. But personally, I'm never going to stop covering this. I see so many comments of people saying, hey, I learn more in your show than other shows because you sit here and you report everything. That's my job. That's my goal. I'm not going to report on things that I was just right about or just wrong about. I'm going to talk about everything. So a lot of people don't want to talk about Mitch Trubisky because they're scared, self-incriminating. They're scared about the mob or audiences coming at them saying, hey, didn't you say this? I don't want to do it. I don't want to give him the time of day. I do. Like I mentioned from my video on Monday, it's my duty to help out these people. Robinson, Trubisky. They were sabotaged. It's true at this point. They have no supporters. And I'm not saying I'm big, but I have somewhat of a position. I want to help. I want to help shift the narrative on these players. They're good guys. They play hard for the most part. They're not bad, per se. There have been so many more bad players, complete busts, compared to Mitch Trubisky or Allen Robinson. Mitch Trubisky is not Jamarcus Russell. Mitch Trubisky is not Ryan Leaf. So why should he be treated like that? Why should he be treated like a Jamarcus Russell or Ryan Leaf when obviously that's not who he is? And that's why I'm never going to stop supporting this or talking about it. I want to see a logical conclusion, but more than anything, I want to help public perception here for them. They were sabotaged. It's been reported on a number of times, and I'm sure it's going to be reported on many more times. Coming up to next season, they deserve fair profiles, fair treatment. A lot of people don't want to, but I'm going to. So, we'll see what happens for Mitch Trubisky come next year. Thanks for watching today's show here at VPod TV, channel 59.3 in Roku. Really appreciate the time. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook, Jon Zaghloul. If you want to watch more of this show, search up Sports Talk Chicago, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and sportstalkchicago.com. And make sure you tune in every night at 10:30 right here on VPod TV. So long, everyone.